Yes, so we do, as we dial back the clock to 1966, we remember the history behind District 6 and the evictions that took place there in that year. And while we do that, we chat to a man who's been responsible in preserving and celebrating the beautiful musical culture of District 6, 1960s District 6, that was founded in the halls, in the hotels, in the bioscopes of the time. I'm, of course, talking about none other than David Kramer. We're going to be chatting about his latest show. But before we do that, take a look at this.
My name is Noor Ibrahim. I used to live in District 6.
I'm a child of former residents of District 6.
I was born in District 6, 24th of July, 1939.
Cape Town was the first city in South Africa, okay? So people came from all over the world.
People of Dutch, English, German, French, Portuguese. From my slave experience, people from the Caribbean islands, Mozambique, Malaysia, Indonesia, Madagascar, India. Jews that came from Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. And Xhosa speaking, of course, Akoi and Sanford. So there was a cultural mix.
Become a very vibrant, cosmopolitan area.
But the one thread that went through the whole of District 6 was a thread of acceptance of each other as people. And not because of your creed, your color, your culture.
Where you didn't have the sense of the high arts were only for people of a particular class, but everyone went to the dances, everyone went to the movies, everyone went to listen to opera. There was a very rich cultural life in District 6.
We were one big happy family, and that was a problem. You see, the apartheid government didn't like that. And I still believe that is one of the reasons they declared District 6 a whites-only area in 1966. This was a great shock to us. We didn't know this was going to happen. We saw the headlines in our newspapers. District 6 declared a whites-only area. In 1970, the government sent in the first bulldozer. Then they started demolishing all our homes. That was very sad.
Watching communities being destroyed, watching schools being destroyed. Everything that community base was destroyed. Schools, churches, sports clubs, friends, families, all gone.
I was practically kicked out in 1975, and the day they demolished my home, you know, I watched them. I was standing right there when they demolished my home in front of me, eh? Now, I mean, can you imagine? I cried. I was so angry. Nobody could stop them from doing that. It was crazy what they did to people.
They were then subdivided into different race groups and then placed into different areas and then entrenched in these areas by means of railway lines, highways, roads, and industrial areas, which then created your various ghettos. And that only added again to what we've got today, where people looking at each other due to the brainwashing that was done from grandparents to parents and then to their children. And that culminated in what we have today. This is my area, that is your area, you don't belong here, I don't belong over there.
I think the loss of home was an important factor in the loss of identity as well. The sense of not belonging or longing for that lost home was what people took with them to the different townships on the Cape Flats where they were moved to. Very important to remember that it's not only the houses, it's not a housing project. It's a project of restitution, which is about houses, but it's about everything else that goes alongside with building community. Community halls, the educational programs, the cultural support, the care for the elderly, the care for the young people, all of those were what we were very crucial and very important elements of District 6.
Yes, and indeed, we are dialing back the clock as we remember those evictions of 1966, 50 years ago when that happened in District 6. And we're chatting to David Kramer. He's got a brand new show right now at the Fugard that starts off tonight and goes until the 20th of March. It's called District 6 Kanala, and it's great to have you here. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you, Katlego.
Fantastic. Now, you have had a show called District 6 before, way
yes,
back when...
30 years ago.
30
years ago, Tally Peterson and I created a musical called District 6.
But this is completely different.
This is a different one, yes.
So tell me about how you've gone about, I guess, encapsulating the essence of District 6 in this particular production.
Well, you know, I thought because of this anniversary coming up, the declaration of District 6 as a white group area, it seemed to me that it would be a good time to pay tribute to that place and to the people that lived there, and also in some ways to pay tribute to my partner, the late Tally Peterson.
Yeah.
So I've selected quite a lot of the songs that Talib and I wrote together, and I've created a kind of rough a story framework in which to include many of those songs.
Yeah, and you're working with quite a talented cast. I mean,
I'm
the likes
working
of...
with a brilliant, beautiful cast. Some people I've worked with for a long time, like Lukman Adams.
Yes.
He was 10 or 11 years old when he played in the musical.
Yes.
He played Brucey 30 years ago.
Can you believe
And
it?
now he's in this one. Alistair Isabel has done the musical arrangements. I'm working with Carlo Daniels, who was in Cut and the Kings with me.
Yes.
Some of the Orpheus in Africa people, like
goodness.
Edith Blaikis and Natasha Hess, and also Sned Ladla, who has a lot of very funny parts in this musical Kanala.
Bianca LaGrange as well.
And Bianca, of course, from Blood Brothers.
Voice. Yes,
from Blood
exactly.
Brothers, yes.
So how have you gone about transforming the Fugard into that space so that people, when they're there watching it, can really
Well,
live themselves?
I haven't gone for realism this time. What we've done is we wanted to sort of remember District 6 through photographs. So we've created surfaces on which we can project photographs of the old District 6. And we have access to the Cape Institute of Architecture has lent us the collection of Jan Sivissima, which is a substantial collection, as well as Kluti Breitenbach's photographs we have, and some of my own personal collection. I have a collection of District 6 photographs. So we play against that backdrop.
And I've got to ask, as a person who has, I feel like, dedicated a significant part of your life to the preservation of this musical culture that is, founded in District 6, why has it been so important to you to do that?
Well, it's not so much that it's a preservation of the musical culture, it's that it's acted as an inspiration for new work. So work that Talib and I did, is where we've written mainly new songs, kind of inspired by the music of the district, and I think that's important. This is not some sort of museum piece of of old musical culture.
Yeah.
It's about the creative process as well.
Yeah. And why would you say it's so important for South Africans from all walks of life, from all cultures, to come and watch the show?
Well, I think one would get a sense of the vibrancy of what the community was like. There was such it was a multiracial community, all colours and creeds, and various kinds of music that was played there and evolved there, like the Malay choir music and the carnival music and the jazz, Cape jazz, and the Langarm bands, all that. So it's a very, very vibrant musical culture, which we are sort of, I'm tipping my hat to that. And that's what you will get from it. And I think what you will understand is that is the loss, the fact that we have, that this place was destroyed, that these people's lives were trampled upon, that this vibrant community was scattered all over the Cape Flats, and with its subsequent social problems that caused. So I think, I hope the musical reminds people of what the heart of Cape Town really was like. What a vibrant, beating community we used to have there, and it's now gone. And we mustn't forget what happened there. That's why this day, the 11th of February, is an important day to remember.
Wow. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for bringing news to us about the show. And Kanala, thank you very much. District 6 Kanala, the magic of District 6, comes alive from tonight at the Fugard Theatre until the 20th of March. Tickets going at $130 a piece. So be sure to go out there and check out this wonderful show. Right now, here's what you can expect on your Feel Good Breakfast show.